there, sweet ones. This is Ayurvedic Shakti, and today I will do a healing hangout again, and I hope you will enjoy it. I will just start out the way I usually do. You have heard them several times, you know already kind of how it goes. Somewhat the same questions, but the answers will all the time be different, so it's always healing, and hopefully you will find some new solutions also. So the first thing I want to do is ask you the miracle question, which is like this. Imagine that tonight when you go to sleep, and when you are unaware of what's going on, that a miracle happens that will resolve things for you. If there are things, issues that you want to change, and even if it isn't any specific things, maybe some guidance in a good direction, in a direction to where you want to go, come up if you think about this miracle. So what you do is close your eyes and imagine going to bed and falling asleep. And while sleeping, this miracle occurs. And now imagine that it's morning and you wake up. And how would you recognize this miracle? How would you know that a miracle had occurred while you were asleep at night? And there are only right answers, nothing is wrong. Anything that you come up with is great. It will give you some insights. The first thing you recognize. So, then you know, maybe depending on your answer there, but hopefully you have some idea of what your goal is for this session. And then I want to repeat another thing that you have heard before if you have listened to this, and that's the scales. Even the miracle question can sometimes seem very, very odd and backwards and not logical, which is not, because it goes deeper. But it really reveals what's underneath and what we really want in a moment. So the scales also give us information, especially over time. It can give a lot of information the moment we do them as well, but especially over time. If we keep a record or a diagram even of the movements of the scales, especially some of them, that will give us a lot of information which we couldn't see otherwise probably. I recall when I have done this with therapists who have been educated in this form of therapy. And I'm not, but I've done it a lot, so. But anyways, they it could show me on those diagrams that I really felt much, much better than when some time before, some years before or so on. I went to therapy for quite some time. And I didn't really recognize that because I only saw the things that I wanted and needed to change. So I didn't realize that I was at a much better place. And to see those changes on my responses to the same questions really made it clear to me that, oh wow, it really have come forward, although I sometimes feel like it goes backwards or I'm stuck, or it gives some indications, although it's not the full solution, it still is a helpful tool sometimes. So the first scaling questions I want to ask you is this: where are you now compared to this goal? Or if you have a specific problem and you know where you want to be instead of where you are, then I ask, where would you say that you are on a scale from 0 to 10, when 10 is when you have arrived there, reached your goal, and 0 is when you were at your farthest away, at your worst, so to speak, from that goal. Great. And then I want to ask you also, how motivated are you? How willing are you to make an effort? And this question was tricky for me sometimes because I needed so much peace and calm, and making an effort always threw me into the wall. I mean, it was always the wrong direction. So I had to turn it around in my head so that I saw the effort I needed to do was to calm down, to find peace, peacefulness, harmony. So an effort doesn't have to mean that you push and strain at all. So, but on that scale, from 0 to 10, when 0 is that you're not willing at all, and 10, you're 100% there, you're willing to do anything that is needed. So where are you on that scale right now? And when it comes to all of these questions and scales, they're only there to be helpful and not to judge in any kind of way where you are at now. So if, for example, you have a very low number on this scale, it only gives an indication that maybe the goal isn't realistic actually, but even more so, maybe you need to find some tools or something that will motivate you. Maybe you need to find ways to get more motivated. So that can be the goal for the sessions. Because motivation isn't a feeling, it's a process. So, to just do this and relax into your own inner answers, because you have all the answers within. And you have the best and smartest answers. Sometimes, also when I think about my path, I realized that it would have been so much easier and quicker if I would have just listened inwards. But I didn't. I picked things from outside and Although I've listened a whole lot inwards, otherwise I wouldn't have survived even, I don't think. At the same time, I thought somehow that I needed answers from someone else or direction, or that it was outside to be found, that someone could give them to me, and we can open the eyes to see new things and new perspectives for each other. At the same time, the core and the real truths we seek are within. So my advice to you is really to shut out everything else, even if your goals seem, the first question there, the exercise of the miracle, even if it seems so far out there, just go with it. Just go with the sense of it and let yourself dream, because you may find some treasures there that you didn't even know were there. So the reason for this, I'm sorry, I forgot that. Maybe I should turn that off. Wait a second. I always forget. When it comes to my phones. Well, so you can see yourself as a craftsman in this situation, or woman, or gender fluid, or however you would see yourself, but a crafty person. And think about what tools, if you have a specific goal and you know that you need to take some steps towards that goal. I will come to another scale question related to this as well, but first I want to ask you, see this as something, some crafts you will do that is quite fun to manage and reach the fulfillment of our realization of our completion of this craft. And that there are various tools you can use to do that. And probably, if this is something you've had in your mind already, you already know some of those tools you could use to reach there. So I want to ask you this for now. If there is any tool that you know of or come up with just now and didn't think about before, that you haven't used yet, that you haven't tried. And I want to suggest that you consider trying that. Trying a new way or a new tool. I hope this is not too metaphorical for you to grasp what I'm asking here. So, and as I always say, feel free to either write in the comments or in messages on Facebook, although I'm probably will be there more seldom, maybe. Well, I wish again now and then anyway, but even if we are not friends on Facebook, you can message me there. And if you want to be more private, then in comments. So, I also want to say thank you for all the sweet comments from several people that I didn't know were out there listening to me, so I will go back in my next video before then and check what your names were and so on, and mention you as well, as far as I can pronounce those. So, but I've read them, and I'm really grateful for your kindness and sweetness. I think most of them were on the other channel, but still, if you listen to this as well. So, feel free to respond and tell me what you think, what your thoughts or experiences is from these healing hangouts. And there was a comment about someone, Anna, who liked, no, maybe it wasn't her, I think, who liked these rambly or healing hangouts much more than the card readings. So I wonder if I should do card readings on one channel. I don't know for sure, really. For now I have my soft spoken here and whispery over there on the Whispering Spirit channel, but I may change that in some way. Please suggest if you like anything. But yeah, and also I want to ask you, thinking about this goal or whatever it is you want to reach, I want to ask you this: what is it that you would need to do for that to come true? Or what would need to happen for this miracle to occur? Is there something that pops up? And even related to these questions, don't strain, just relax into the answers, and when there are no answers for the time being, that's okay, that's fine. Just let yourself relax and drift off, and you will come in touch with the answers you need for now. Trust that process. But as I said, if you have tried before and feel that you need something else or something more, I suggest you try something new, maybe a new tool, a new way to reach your goal. At the beginning it may feel a bit strange when you do something differently, but with practice we get more skillful, whatever it is. So and you can see it as fun, as you would maybe do if you think about some crafts that you would love to do and just enjoy. If it's possible for you to see this process in the same way, as fun, and just drop all the judgments about yourself. Just be curious about what comes up. Nothing can be wrong here. So I'm going to ask you another scale question about the next step to take. And it's good if it's very specific, because otherwise it may drift off into just being a dream. So I want you to think about where you were on that first question. When you reached the goal was 10 and 0, when you were most far away from your goal. And then I want you to think about if you should take half or actually one step, because I've tried these half steps. They never work for me, actually. I don't know, maybe it's especially for addicts, but to take a half step really doesn't get you nowhere in that sense. So I think a whole step would be good. And for this week, I should mention this below maybe, but I've lost 3 kilos this week. Yeah, I need to lose some as well, so it's nothing bad about that. But yeah, also related to taking a whole step. And it's actually easier, in many occasions, it's easier to take a whole step than a half. That's not a good idea. I think I heard that from those therapists, but yeah. The purpose of it is to choose something that you can do which will bring you a little bit further, closer to your goal, and something at the same time would be easy and possible to accomplish, and that you know you would succeed in. So therefore it's good to think about it as a small step, and it's not about making anyone feel that they aren't able to take more or larger steps. It's more about one step at a time. We can't just jump. Well, we can, but we make it a lot harder. It's good to focus on one step at a time, although we have the goal in sight at the same time. So the question here is to think about being one step, or half if you prefer, closer. And what you would need to do is something specific that you could do, that you know you can do. Until next month, if you want me to do one of these healing hangouts, then again, let me know if anyone prefer them. I don't know if you don't really want me to, so I won't bug you with those. Anyways, you can come back to the old ones, the ones that I have up. I think I have some up, right? I forget. Anyways, so something that you can do maybe even this coming week, or at least within a month, that would take you closer to your goal. Something that is not vague, something that is very clear and specific. And then I want you to do this also. I want you to keep maybe a little notebook, or however you prefer to write it. Sometimes it can be good to have it with us, but whatever is best for you. and to write down every time you notice signs that you are closer to or experience parts of this goal in some way. Something that is good or something you can use on your path forward. And then I want to ask you, or I want you to ask yourself, how did that happen? How did you make this happen? That step or that sign that you're in the right direction, that you're going in the right direction. What did you do differently? And what did you learn from it? How can you use it to come? Maybe sometimes we only need to see that, oh, when I did that this happened, and that gives us so much information. Sometimes we don't stop and think about the small things that affects our actions and decisions. But if we do, if we take one step back to reflect also, we will see patterns and things that will really make it much easier to go forward. So notice the things that are going well, whatever they are, even if they may be or seem unrelated to your goal, the things that seem really working great. And maybe you can use some of those things when it comes to reaching this goal as well. This can make you see opportunities more clearly. When you start to notice the things that works well, you sort of develop another vision of things than when you look at the things that are going wrong. So you kind of train new pathways in your brain, which will invite it into your life to be more successful in the ways you want. And as I said before, it's all about you, it's all about where you want to go, not someone else's goals, just yours. And therefore it's also good with this miracle question, because it kind of strips away these things that are laid upon us by society or maybe family or communities, or we can get in touch with, especially if maybe at the first time, but sometimes later when we have done it sometimes and start to relax into the question without judging ourselves and let whatever comes up, whatever our intuition wants to tell us at the time, listen to that. Listen to that answer in every question, and it will guide you where you want to go, to where you want to be, to who you want to become. And there is also another question you can do at night if you want to. And this may seem backward sometimes, but it's actually not. As a psychic, being a psychic myself is maybe a little bit different though, but not really. But try to predict if there is something you're going to do the next day, or maybe several things that you wonder if they will work or not, how it will go. Make a prediction, and it doesn't have to be a good one. Just make a prediction that, that will mess up or that will go great, or just by doing so you become much more aware. Of your how you can affect things, of your own power. Maybe you should try that and let me know if it worked or not. And if you always predict right, maybe not that psychics always predict right. But if you often do, maybe you are psychic. But it can also mean that when it comes to these things, that your thoughts actually have great power to influence things, the way you think about yourself and about situations. Determine their outcome. And to see that, and to realize the great power you have, will have a great effect on you. It will give your strength back to you, the strength you felt maybe were lost or diminished. You will see that it's still there. And then you can turn whatever hardships you've met into something good, into strength. And that can also be fun as crafting. And that's what I feel when it comes to the Munaki and the shamanic workings. I work a lot with myself now, which is, well, I sometimes like to work with others more, actually. It's not boring to work with myself, but it's, I guess I'm a bit of an escapist. What is it? Yeah, well, escape artist, but yeah, I want to escape from that a bit, I think, or have been. So, but you can do it in a really fun way, that too, as in crafting, to discover new things and new strengths and turn things around. So I realized that I could talk forever about the changes I need to do and take half steps, and I can work with myself to some degree, but not like fully, not all in. Keep one foot in my weaknesses, you could say. But now I don't want to do that. So for now I work a lot with myself. And the way you work then, and sometimes everything that I do relates to each other, so this touch onto it as well, although this is so much the mind. It touches onto the soul and the imagination and all kinds of dimensions of ourselves if we want to. But talking obviously is very, not mental maybe, but it's in the mind, it's the that space, that dimension, and that's limited, very limited. So, but still, it can touch onto each other, and there you really work on transforming the negative into something positive, if you say, or the weaknesses into strengths, and so on. Yeah. So if there is some block in your way that you feel, oh, no, but if you have a lot of buts, not like physically, but if you have, yeah, a lot of those, then maybe you need to ask yourself, what should I do instead? Or what could I do instead? That make you more open to the unknown than to stay stuck in the things that make it impossible, sort of. The things that make you think it's impossible. If you come up with a lot of reasons why things you want won't work, why it will go bad, maybe you need to ask yourself that. What do I need to do instead? Or what would need to happen for this to work? Or what would I need to do for this to work? And if it's related to relationships, maybe, or even if it's not, whatever the question or the issue, let's say, is for you, ask yourself, when did it work well? When was the last time it worked well? And really listen in to the answers. Oftentimes those moments are in the midst of all the mess, so to speak. So maybe you can see them. And then how did it work that time? What made it work? And then when you find those threads, you can build on them by, for example, doing more of them, or just finding ways, see new ways. We have much more opportunities than we think. So when it, for example, comes to predictions, we are the creators, we are powerful, so there is so many opportunities open for us. Much more than we think. But sometimes we really don't look in those directions, and if we find a thread like this, maybe that will open our eyes to see more of those. You choose. And you can always find new threads, more threads. But sometimes someone is needed to help you ask the right questions to yourself, to come in touch with all the answers you have within. And I also want to ask you to end this. Oh, my neighbor. Sorry. Well, now we woke up if we were relaxing. Anyways, I want to ask you what you're already this moment already today pleased with. And I want you to think about many things. When you think about something, I want to ask you what more. And when you think of another thing, hear me asking, what else? What more? Until nothing more pops up for the moment, maybe. You can keep doing this after this video ends as well. What you are already pleased with. This will also open your mind to see the possibilities around you. That may seem like magical workings, and it actually is, but it's also working. It really works. But if we feel bad, it may feel really tough to do these exercises, to ask these questions. But it can really gain us. And that little sound was not my tummy, it's quiet now. Strangely, it was the little cat that is in one of her boxes. Gosh, she runs my life. Anyways. I also want to ask you, lastly now, this is the last question for now. I want to ask you, what do you hope that you will do more of after this session? And if there are several things, just keep asking what else, what more. It's a snoring cat. Yeah. So then you may also be given some clues from within on what to do. And it doesn't mean you have to do all those things and whatever your goal was or is, or the answer to the miracle question, it doesn't mean that you need to reach exactly that goal. And this is a process of openness. So, with no pressure, just relaxation. And keep that with you the coming week or weeks. What are you already pleased with? Sometimes we are so good at complaining. I'm a master complainer sometimes. It really surprises myself those days when I'm extra tired or something and I really, some things just pop out, it seems. But when I work with myself more consciously, I see that it's really a choice sometimes. Somewhere there it's a choice. I can change it. And I don't know if you heard about, it was a long time ago, probably, but about those, there were those, you can have like bracelets with, I don't know, they were called a complaint-free day or something, or world, I don't remember. It was like printed into them. And you should go with them on one wrist of the hands. But when you complained, you had to put them on the other hand and practice that until you could go a full day without complaining. I've thought about that many times. I mean, I don't need to buy those bracelets. You can have anything around the wrist of your hand just become aware. It's not about not letting yourself feel whatever you feel or think whatever you think fully. It's about giving yourself permission to open up space to other possibilities. So maybe that can be something to try also. But anyways, think about what you're pleased with already, and it's good to write down some notes also, the things you see, because we easily forget. It gets strengthened when we write it down. So thank you for listening, and much love. We'll talk to you soon.